Good day. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning, September the 16th, 2019. And in this episode, we are going to determine how do we verify that it actually is altcoin season. There's sort of that fuzzy area where some people are saying it is, some people are saying it isn't. And yet there's got to be a specific time and event that actually shows us that altcoin season is really here. I'll go into a little bit of that here in this episode. Then we're going to do some technical analysis on the big six coins: Ripple, Tron, Litecoin, Ethereum, EOS, and ADA. I'll take requests for any coins you'd like me to take a look at near the end of this video. And then we're going to do some BitMEX testnet trades to practice doing actual trades for these markets. All that and more on this episode of, what do I call this now? The BitMEX tutorial live stream. All right. Just before we go into it, here is the disclaimer. This isn't trading advice, just market observation. And the live stream. I want to say a thank you to GBU Professor Wally, but as we go through this live stream and I start uncovering how I go about verifying if it's actually altcoin season, I want to put a big thank you out to AOL Chandra, who's been a very big help in putting this information together that I'm going to share a little bit with you here today. So we're looking at right now Bitcoin prices, Ethereum prices, Litecoin prices, and Ripple prices. We're on the 1 minute bars, which doesn't really give you much perspective unless you've been looking at it from a distance for a while. So we can see that Litecoin made a nice little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It broke out and now it's made a little 1, 2, 3 here. So we're inside a much larger 1, 2, 3 bottom. Same with Ripple. We had a little 1, 2, 3 bottom. We did a live stream on that day and I said, I'm not trading this. It's too small. Now it's got into a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom. Here in Ripple, we had the same small little 1, 2, 3 bottom on that same day on the 8th. And it's turned into a larger 1, 2, 3 that's already broken out higher. Now Bitcoin has been coming down. We have a 1, 2, 3 here. We have a larger 1, 2, 3 top that it has broken down this morning. Awesome. Oh, look at that. I can hit Q now and it mutes my microphone, but it also really messes up my chart here. Let me refresh this page. So in this stream, I'm going to talk about how to tell if it's actually alt season first. And then we'll come back in and we'll take a look at these charts to make some decisions on it and to dig into the indicators under these charts to see what they're actually telling us as well. So the way I go about telling if it's a actually altcoin season, I was just starting off a little bit here, is to look for the trend change formation that I trade. If you want to learn more about this trend change formation, you can get the free webinar. I provide a complete practical Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading plan for beginners. It has this trading plan in it and a way to go through the trading plan from stage 1 all the way to stage 5 of the trade. This window takes a little bit to load up. And I was working in this window. That's why it was troubling me. So what we're looking for is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation to determine if this really is altcoin season. So we do have a little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here. We have the larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here. So if it breaks above these areas and it breaks past the support and resistance, we have the potential for it to actually be the turnaround and altcoin season starting. But we had that potential for the turnaround here. We had that potential for the turnaround here. Ever since May or April 1st, it's been down and down and down for the alts. We've been hammered big time. So part of what I do is look for this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation turnaround. But to look at it in one chart, to look at this in just one chart doesn't really give me the idea or the answer. Is it altcoin season? So the second way I go about looking for that is, hey, Trader Retuto, good to have you along. You've been proven out really awesome and right. Anyway, the second way I go about determining if it is actually altcoin season is to look at Bitcoin dominance and to see if it is giving us let me go to a 1-day view so it'll load up quick. See if it's giving us a 1, 2, 3 formation, a bottom formation, or a top formation. So we definitely saw it. I am still missing my drawing tool over here. There we go, that's why. We definitely saw it here. We definitely saw the formation here. We saw the formation break bigger over here. And as we have these shaping up, this set the trend change. At this point here, it looked like altcoins were going to start taking off and going up. At this point here, it looked like altcoins were going to start taking off and going up. Now we have another point way up at the top here where we saw it looked like altcoins were going to go up. And now it looks like altcoins are going to go eventually. One of these times, when this breaks any of these levels, this will be the stage of altcoins going up. Now, one thing I did with this trading plan is I created a spreadsheet. I wanted to go through every single market and grade it against my trading plan, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And so I created some color coding so that I could prove and demonstrate and show how awesome this trading system is. And I've been working it for over a year, and we made some great profits from December all the way through to the end of March. But aside from that, this entire last year has been really shitty for demonstrating this trading plan in the altcoins because they've been going down, making a bottom formation, going down, making a bottom formation, going down. And so I started doing this spreadsheet of all of the coins, and I wanted to add them all up and average them. So let me go over to the Poloniex Bull Market Watch. And I'll scroll back through time so that we can see how this actually happened back in January, February. As prices were coming out of lows, they went into gray status, neutral status. Then we had a whole bunch of them turning into alert status and a whole bunch of them turning into hold status. And so by grading them this way and putting them into a spreadsheet, I was able to add up how many are in each status. So we can see how many are in failing status, how many are in near fail status, and how many are in neutral status, and how that changes over time. So then I can chart this change to start getting an idea, when is the ball really changing direction? When is it on average the entire market changing direction? So this report has turned into some pretty fantastic data because we can add up all of the coins that have been alerts for the last 2 months. How many days have they been in alert status? How many days have they've been in hold status? So now we can start making a very narrow list of which coins started to bump up first here when we almost had a bull run. When we almost had a bull run here, which were the coins that were jumping up first? Here now we can see that there is some bullish activity setting up. We see some increases in our number of yellow lines. Those are alert coins, and increases in the number of coins that are in hold status now. They have passed the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and they are in a position that if we were trading it, we would be holding that one. So this spreadsheet is phenomenal because it'll tell us specifically that altcoin season is here. And while it's very close and it may tip and come very quickly, right now it's still a little ways away from the real full-on bull market. What we're having now is just those first coins that are taking off. So here on Poloniex, there are 15 coins that are really looking great. Over on Binance, there are 26 coins that are looking really great. And many of those were the same coins that were doing well back over here. So we had 87 coins that were looking fantastic. Many of those we can filter down into this list now of the 26. So we've got verification that they've been at the forefront. They've been at the forefront. They've been at the forefront. Where we still have a whole bunch of coins, we can see here 53 of them in near fail status, nearly failing down to new lows. So if Bitcoin resists this dump area right now and starts to climb back up, these alts are still very much on edge of dumping, but they're getting closer to being takeoff point as well. All right, so there is the 3 ways we go through to find out if it really is altcoin season. First of all, looking for the individual coins to see if they are making the bottom formation. The second thing to verify is the altcoin, the Bitcoin market cap dominance. So Bitcoin dominance. As Bitcoin dominance is dropping, altcoins are on their rise up. This is the measure of it. Then finally, the third way is this spreadsheet that really gives us all of the details, but more than that, it gives us the inside views as to which coins are the ones that are taking off first and why. Really awesome stuff. Let's go back to the coins right now and zoom right in. All right, now, so the conspiracy theorist in me believes that Bitcoin is pulling back and that it's going to bounce back up. The 1, 2, 3 formation trader in me sees that the top formation is starting to confirm itself out. It's starting to give us those nested 1, 2, 3s that if Bitcoin is going down and altcoins hold a steady US dollar value, they will go up in Bitcoin value. And so if the altcoins have been holding a steady US dollar value, as Bitcoin goes up, they are going down in US dollar and down in Bitcoin value. So it may not be that alts are actually going up. It may be that they're just holding their own US dollar value. But regardless, the whole name of the game is to trade these alts so that we're building up the number of Bitcoin that we have, not the number of US dollars that we have. And so now for the rest of this stream, I want to go through our big 6 and I want to catalog what are the indicators doing for them. So this is a nice general chart to look at, but I want to dig into these charts here that give me the relative strength index. And we can see an enormous bullish relative strength index here. A very bullish divergence in this. It still could pull back. This may not be. If Bitcoin takes off, this will pull back. But this is a very nice confirmation. And as it's breaking above these 1, 2, 3s and the exponential moving average crosses over, then that is the verification. Until then, we could be going sideways. We could be going down more. There's still much more that we don't want to jump into a market too early and then be sitting there while it goes sideways, or jump in too early and it starts to fade back. We want to jump in when it's confirming. And I want to go through and catalog this now. There's no volume. There's no new money. It's going back and forth. It hasn't really changed direction yet, though. But it's okay. Let's go through and catalog this stuff. Where am I? I'm doing this on Binance markets here so that I can have some history in the chart. I find it's frustrating to try to pull back in the BitMEX charts. So let's go in. Unbalanced volume on the 12-hour bar is showing, from what I've been doing over time, is to look at this as having less and less dumping power as it's going along. It hasn't jumped up into buying power yet. And so again, waiting for that exponential moving average to cross over on the 12-hour time frame is sometimes a good idea, but certainly could have been doing it on the 4-hour time frame. The trouble is with the 4-hour, of course, you're getting whipsawed in and out more often. Whereas if you just wait for the 12-hour, you're doing a lot less work. You're waiting for the moment where it's actually changing direction instead of jumping on all the little waves. And this is a lot of my focus. Let's go in. So if you guys have a specific question about any of these, put them in the chat. And if not, I'm going to continue going through. This looks really bullish. I love that this has got these crosses positive, and I'm wanting to see this kind of thing set up in Bitcoin, but it is not. Bitcoin is not doing this nice setup as nicely as ADA is. For sure. And now the Ichimoku cloud, we'll go back to our Binance view so that I can have the longer term. It's still below the cloud, but looking like it's coming up underneath it, like pushing up toward it on the 12-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we've broken above the cloud. Now it's bouncing off of it, which would confirm a buy signal if it's breaking up off this cloud. That is great. And we don't see Bitcoin sitting on top of the cloud this way on any of the time frames. And I'm going through the time frames on Bitcoin trying to make it look good. And so what is this? I got to go back to the 1-hour time frame. The 1-hour time frame has gone above the cloud, broke that back above the cloud. So these are looking much better than Bitcoin is if looking just at the Ichimoku cloud. So high five to Trader Rituto for nailing this. Let's see how it unfolds. Never know what's coming up in the next Bart Simpson move on this. What else can I close here now so that I don't have... Okay, you can get the, if you haven't already, get the free trading plan from the website. Learn that stuff so that you are up to speed as we're talking about this stuff. I don't have to explain it quite as much. Then everybody here is more educated. We can go on to higher level things. Okay, I really like this chart. The RSI is doing some nice things, holding its own a little higher here, holding its own a little higher here. It's a more of a divergence off of this than the price is going, it seems to me. So it's really looking like a bullish support underneath this all the way along. And should this start to tick up higher, and that's looking great, that's on the 12-hour time frame too. So if we go into the 4-hour time frame, we had a cross to the positive and a cross to the negative, but an immediate cross to the positive again. So that's a bit of a jump in and out on this moment on that 4-hour time frame. But again, this is showing a nice divergence setting up. So that it's building these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations and nesting with these positive RSI is fantastic. Let's go on to on-balance volume when it loads up here. We'll go to BCH ABC. Lower dumping going along here. Not getting, well, yeah, we are getting buying, and a little bit more buying. Again, on the 12-hour time frame, this looks better than Bitcoin does. And if we go into the 4-hour time frame, we are getting some dumping, but good buying going along in each of these things. I like that this turned into a big swath of buying as it was coming down instead of a big sell. Looking good. Let's go on to the next indicator for BCH. Again, this is flaring positive. Bitcoin is flaring negative. This is looking positive, looking positive, looking positive, all stronger, 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 while Bitcoin is struggling at these points. So for Bitcoin to take over now, as I'm going through these, it's really looking much more and more like altcoin season has the power behind it. Let's go into the 12-hour view of BCH ABC. Look at how it's come into the, wow, that looks great. As we go into the 4-hour time frame, it is already broken above the cloud. We have a much stronger, more positive signal here than Bitcoin is giving us. Zoom into the 1-hour time frame, and it's already above the cloud, all positive here. Of course, anything can switch, but the things we're looking for in the Ichimoku cloud is that this trailing indicator is up behind and wide away from the prices and not laying on them. We're also looking for that the blue line is crossed above the red, that the cloud is green, and that the price is above the cloud. So all of those things are bullish, where Bitcoin is not doing that for us when we take a look at Bitcoin price. Now let's go through EOS and do the same thing on that. We'll start off with the relative strength index when this chart opens up. And this is because I have too much crap on my computer. It's using up all the memory. What can I close? Let's see if that helps. All right, so I've been here before. Okay, let's BCHABC. Very good. So we're seeing these continuously rising RSI. I like that it's come back and given itself more room to spring up even higher here. This is the 4-hour time frame. Let's go to the 3-month time frame. So really nice looking RSI, but it's getting a little bit overbought. There's still more room for it to go, but it's getting a little overbought there. The exponential moving average crossed over. It's up there positive, but this wasn't as easy a 1, 2, 3 formation to trade because it's just barely poked above it. Now that it comes back and is testing these levels, this gives us another place to play these 1, 2, 3s. We don't have to trade them on the breakout. And if you're trading them on the breakout and you're doing a market order as it's breaking out, you're trading FOMO style. So don't market buy as it breaks out. This is something we teach more in the course and how to set up those trades correctly. Save yourself tons of money and a lot of worry and stuff too. At any rate, let me clear this off. This is a tough 1, 2, 3 formation to trade. There are 2 different ways we can trade the 1, 2, 3. We trade on the breakout, or you wait for it to come back and retest these levels, and on strength, then you can buy. And it's proven that it's not a fake out breakout and going to continue down. This is where we are right now, is testing out to see, are these real breakouts or are they fake out breakouts? And lots of times when we're looking at it in the 4-hour time frame, we see tons of fake out breakouts and then it pulls back, which is one of the reasons I filter this by the 12-hour time frame for most of this stuff, at least for the commentary as I'm going through. I do trade the 4-hour time frame and sometimes the 1-hour time frame. So EOS has a lot of buying volume here that's way different than everything else. And I was very much poo-hoo EOS all the way down here. Selling, 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 selling. And all of a sudden, boom, without much of a bottom formation, it took off. This kind of thing usually gets away from me because I'm waiting for a slower, more mature bottom. And news or changes in the program that make it blast off, I miss out on those. Until now that it's set up this formation and I can start paying attention, there's lots of market left. If this is the turnaround, there's going to be a great deal of profit left above us yet. No hurry. Let's go on to EOS in the MACD 12-hour view. We're also getting positive crosses all the way up here. Really laid it out nice. And we were pointing that out as this was unfolding and we were coming down here. How nice the MACD was as a divergence all the way up here. And then boom, off it went. Beautiful example. Now I know that when we go to the Ichimoku cloud and we go back to the 12-hour time frame, this is still under the cloud. Like we still have lots of time for this taking off and doing something amazing. On the 4-hour time frame, it's just coming up above the cloud now and proving itself a buy signal. Breaks above these levels are fantastic. What am I looking at? Ripple. No wonder it was giving me I was going, what's going on? Back to the 12-hour time frame, not the same as Ripple, but already broken out. What were we already looking at? And they were not broken out like this on the 12-hour time frame. Already nailed it. The 4-hour time frame, of course, it gave it on this little breakout right away and bounced off, looking good. The 1-hour time frame, again, I couldn't trade this breakout. It's there, and it's over the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and then the news came out. It's all there. It's a tradable pattern, and we were talking about it on the live stream during the 8th, and I said, it is a pattern. You could be right, but I don't trade those patterns, and to my loss. I could have started off with a very small trade. Micro-sized formation, micro-sized trade, but the percentage gains would have been nice. Okay, so let's go to F. And we'll take a look at the relative strength index to begin with. Really blasted. This is another one I was poo-hooing big time, and it did virtually the same type of blast as EOS did, right out of this tiny little formation between the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and up it went. For my own part, it would be better if it pulled back and did some retesting and then came back up here. It'd give it a much better entry for me. But the RSI is looking good on the 12-hour time frame. Let's zoom in on this to see if this RSI is running out of steam yet. I want to see where this is pretty overbought now. 1 hour time frame. All right, so now we do have a divergence that I haven't seen on the other charts. Did I miss it? Oh, you got to go back to EOS. I missed it. How did I miss that? What was going on? But there's a divergence in the relative strength index. And important in this time frame at this moment as Bitcoin is doing what it's doing and hovering there with this little Bart Simpson above these bottoms. That these are easing off is sort of my bias. So there's the Ethereum one. And of course, if this continues up and this breaks higher, that's what the RSI does. It stays in an overbought territory in an uptrend. It gets to be less useful. So let's go on to Ethereum now with the on-balance volume. I expect to see that there is swaths of buying volume just like we see in EOS. And again, this one I was really negative on. As it was coming down here, I was saying, no way. It's got to build a bottom for me now. And then it just took right off. It didn't really build a nice bottom. It just moved. So you could say that this is the 1, 2, 3, but not mature enough for me. And as it's coming up to retest these levels, I'm just not buying it as it's starting to push up here. Not my type of trade yet. Still lots of time for this to mature, and I'll love it when it does. Let's go on to Ethereum. I've got to work my way through these. Actually, I'm going to pause and mute, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Ooh, oh my goodness. No way my bladder would have made it. I'm hydrating up for yoga class. So anyway, let's jump back into these because look at what Ripple's doing right now. That looks so amazing. It's a phenomenal chart pattern. I want to go through and document it all. So let's go back. We looked at Ethereum, said this was a divergence, but it's looking stronger. Look at Ethereum versus on-balance volume. You can see the clear change of buying, really. But we had buying going on over here and then faded off as Bitcoin did whatever. So there's no guarantees on this stuff. The RSI divergence is important for me. I don't like it. Now, overall, we can see that the MACD indicator on the 12-hour time frame really kicks ass over what we were seeing in Bitcoin. These are nice, beautiful crosses to the top side. A nice flare wider to the top side. Looking good. Let's zoom in on this to see if it's running out of steam. The 4-hour, here is how that 4-hour crosses and waves as the 12-hour was going pretty, okay, not as much, but you can see that it was, the 4-hour really crosses and waves as the 12-hour stays pretty steady. Now the 1-hour time frame, we are getting that same divergence here. Oh my. So here's the divergence in Ethereum. Did I miss this in, how is this going on? Did I not look at this chart? So here is a divergence in, and maybe not be an important one, the chart formation wins. This is just inside look to see what's going on and then track it back afterwards to see how it goes. So both in Ethereum and in EOS, we're getting this divergence, double top, higher tops, and we'll see. That doesn't mean anything. This has a long ways that it can go up yet, this indicator. Now, Ethereum versus the Ichimoku cloud. Start on the 12-hour time frame. It's already poked through. On the 4-hour time frame, of course, it broke out on the, what's that, the 9th? Come back and touch these levels. That was really a real killer, but this skewer only happened on Binance. It didn't happen on the other exchanges. And I was thinking that was very bearish right at that moment, and off it went. So now let's zoom in and see if we're coming up into the cloud in any way in these shorter time frames. 1 hour still is great. The 15-minute is the first one that is actually coming back into the cloud. You always got to drag the Ichimoku cloud back a little bit so that you can see the leading part of the indicator here. This is a tiny 1, 2, 3 top. It has pulled back. It's in the cloud, but on the 15-minute time frame, it's just not that significant. Even on the 5-minute time frame, this whipsaws a lot back in and out of the cloud. So that it's here, maybe it's going to pull back, but these are all looking super powerful, looking really great. Let's jump into Litecoin and see what's going on with this. Litecoin. Okay. 1 hour time frame, 12-hour time frame. So we have the stronger RSI going on here. We see the divergence in the RSI setting up. This is all looking very positive. This is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Breaks above these levels would be great, but we still have all of this support and resistance to make our way through. And so the jury is out on this. It is setting up. On the 4-hour time frame, of course, we had this 1, 2, 3 again on the 5th, 6th, 7th. This was an important turnaround day. Bitcoin tried to go and failed. The alts took advantage of that right there. So if they are taking advantage of going up, Bitcoin is failing more. This is all starting to look really good for the alts. And that's the RSI. Let's go into Litecoin now with the on-balance volume to see what's been going on with that. So for the first wave here was much bigger and less here on the second wave, which I would normally be drawing the bearish indicators on this to say, oh, we've got lower highs, we've got this doesn't have as much power. That, you know, the bulls just don't have the juice, it seems. So let's zoom in on this and see if we can see any more details closer up. Juice and less juice. We'll just pay attention and watch that, because that may indicate that this is pulling back and getting ready for the next run up. And that would be all good within this 1, 2, 3 formation. Let's go and do the MACD on the 12-hour view. Again, here's another one that's got these crosses to the positive, a nice, beautiful divergence where prices are coming down. The MACD is coming up, crossing positive, and a little cross to the positive and flaring up, where Bitcoin is giving us that cross to the negative. Let's go into the 4-hour time frame. Here's that wobble again, but crosses to the higher side, the more positive crosses. More positive crosses right here. Let's zoom in to the 1 hour time frame. First 1 hour, that's 15 minutes. So 1 hour also crossing positive. Should it continue to go up from here? That's, you know, all looking good. We just do have a little negative histogram here just at the end. And if it is to cross negative and go below this, that would probably bring prices down here and give us a tiny little 1, 2, 3. But we'd still have to see nested 1, 2, 3s breaking quickly. Not really expecting it. I'm looking pretty good on Litecoin. I'm glad to document this as it's setting up, because we see this so often in the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakouts that if we can document it as we're going through a breakout, and we can take screenshots of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days as it goes through, or if it comes up to the breakout and then it fails, and we can do those screenshots day after day and demonstrate what to look for, then we've got more information to teach trading here by documenting all this stuff. Litecoin Ichimoku Cloud 12-hour time frame. There we go. So it's coming up into the cloud now. Zoom into the 4-hour time frame. It is above the cloud, but kind of in it now, and that we have the trailing indicator cutting in through prices, kind of wishy-washy. This is still positive. We have a twist to the negative. Prices are just above the cloud. It's kind of non-confirming, actually. So if we go into the 1-hour time frame, of course, this is looking much better. It's come through the cloud, back above the cloud. This is positive. This is positive. This is positive. That the price is above the cloud is positive if it breaks above these levels. But even then, it's got a long ways that it can stay here inside the cloud, that it's a buy signal on an uptrend. If it pulls up out of that cloud, this is the buy signal on the uptrend right there for Litecoin. 1-hour time frame. Zoom in, 15-minute time frame just to take a look at it. It is also a buy signal in an uptrend, in that it's holding in the cloud and breaking back above it is the buy signal in the uptrend. So lots of good things going on with these alts that we are not seeing as we went through and did the same study with Bitcoin. So now we'll change charts here, and we'll go and we'll bring up TRX, and we're going to go through the indicators with TRX. Now we already saw the other coins come down to these great lows, and then they blasted off and made some great gains, but TRX hasn't yet. What's the deal there? Here we have higher lows in the RSI. 4-hour time frame. Let's zoom out. That looks good. Not as much of a positive divergence here as the others. They were setting up better, and that's why they're bouncing better. The 4-hour time frame also looking good on the shorter time frame. That's awesome. But this is really maturing just in the last while, just in this bottom formation setup here. Not much data there in TRX. Now, I'm not expecting much here. Let's see what we get in the 3-month view. So we do have a little bit more volume, and this is different than the other coins. Some of them have a bigger volume here and less here. This has the opposite, where we've gone from negative to very positive. That is a bullish divergence for sure across these levels. I like it. And that's the 12-hour time frame. Let's go into the 4-hour time frame. Good. 2 big swaths of buying. So that is encouraging for a breakout above these levels. The 4-hour exponential moving average has already crossed. So this trading plan sequence, the requirements for that trading plan are starting to set up here. If we go into the closer time frame, we can see where the buying and more buying and more buying is setting up. I like it. There's not a lot of dumping going on with this. This is turning out to be one of my favorite charts. If I go into TRX and we're looking at the 12-hour time frame of the MACD, this does well. We've got the downtrend and we've got the uptrend. Really nice. And that's flared to the positive here on the 12-hour time frame. We're not seeing that on Bitcoin. Let's go into the 4-hour time frame. This has gone to the positive, but right at the edge here, it's gone a little bit negative. We hadn't seen that in the other coins. We saw the divergence up, but we saw positive in that divergence. Let's zoom in a little bit, see what the 1-hour tells us. So we can see that it is fading back as we're coming up to this number 1, 2, 3 top. These are fading back. We have lower highs here, a little bit lower highs there. Where are we now? We're on the 1-hour time frame. Zoom in. This looks kind of positive, where we've got the cross and more positive cross here. Now let's go into TRX and take a look at the Ichimoku cloud. Over the 3-month view, I was expecting that it's going to be below the cloud in the 12-hour time frame, but I wasn't really expecting the blue line to be crossed above the red. Let's go through into the 12-hour time frame. In the 4-hour time frame, it's poked above the cloud, but it's not a strong buy signal. It is a buy, it is above the cloud, but this will strengthen more for TRX when it's breaking above these levels. And it'll likely have some emotion to it. If everything else is going and this starts to go, it may do a spike and pull back. So don't FOMO in with a margin, a market order as it's taking off up here. Know that it's probably going to come back. And I don't know, of course, but I think it'll probably skewer and then come back and process before it takes off for the next run. And Ripple, saving the best for last, the last for best. There we go. You got to wait for that to load up. Let's go to the 12-hour time frame. So we are seeing the RSI building up nicely. We've got a good divergence in the RSI, and this gives me more of a curve feeling than the others. This seems to be losing its momentum and sort of like starting to accelerate upward. Even though it's going downward, it's going down less fast. So that is accelerating upward. And then at the bottom of this, we have the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation setting up. Again, it's got the support and resistance of the last failed 1, 2, 3 bottom to go through, and then the support and resistance of the next failed 1, 2, 3 bottom to work its way up through, and then the next level. So we have some really clear points to see what's going on with Ripple. In the meantime, let's continue to monitor what's going on with the changes in the relative strength index from the 12-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame is looking great. This is fantastic. Really looking like it's going to blast up higher, and the 4-hour can get some pretty overbought territory. And I'll bet you we're going to hit up into one of these spikes here. Either that or we're going down from where we are and it's going to pull back a little bit. It looks really good though. So that's the 4-hour on the RSI. 1-hour time frame on the RSI also looking strong. It is giving a little negative divergence. Actually, I was just about to say that it's not quite as strong as the others. Not quite as strong as the others. It's more positive. Now let's go on to Ripple with the on-balance volume on the 12-hour time frame. So we can see we had a good swath of buying here and then it faded off. Now we've got a good swath of buying, so it doesn't, look at this. This was what I'm certain that I was calling this. Look at this amazing divergence. And it's not as amazing now. Here's another one. That was a really amazing looking bullish divergence. We got dumping, less dumping. Now we have buying. So no guarantees out of that. But when it breaks above these levels, we'll be watching to see when it breaks above these levels. And it would be prudent to take on a small position here. If it does something and it gets bigger and higher, then we could add on to a bigger position and be protected by that first initial small position. Ripple on the 12-hour for the on-balance volume. And in the 4-hour time frame and the 1-hour time frame, we can see that these are buying and buying without a lot of dumping in between. So we got some good steady buying, then dump, dump, dump as Bitcoin made this little run up. Dump, dump, dump. But immediately it's buying pressure coming back in. So only if Bitcoin takes off from here, and it's holding flat the top of Bart Simpson's head right now, upside down. This looks good. Many of these coins are looking much better than Bitcoin prices as we're going through these charts in this specific way. So if we go through Ripple and we're looking at on the MACD indicator, I love it again, down and up. So this is a real strong divergence, very, very powerful divergence. Don't miss out on these trades. Start off small and sit and do nothing. There's going to be percentage gains are going to be crazy in these, all of these. Let me clear this off and go into the 4-hour time frame. So we have the cross, negative cross, sort of negative, not really definitive here because we have that same sort of build-up that petered off into nothing. So I don't know if it's going to actually launch or if it's another setup that looks so good. And the Ichimoku cloud for Ripple on the 12-hour time frame, really lining up but not broken up and through. On the 4-hour time frame, it has broken up and through it, and that is given this retest, which is positive. A breakup above this is really well supported. 1-hour time frame, not as well supported. Just as a quick glance, I see that the trailing indicator is hacking through things now. We see that the red is just crossed below the blue, which is bullish. That's twisted a little bit negative there. So that's ripple on the 1-hour time frame isn't as clear, but what is clear is that if it breaks up above this, that is very clearly a buy signal in an uptrend, a wild buy signal out of this. Not much of an uptrend yet, but that's the start. Now let's zoom in. I want to see the 15-minute time frame. Not that decisive. I thought it might be poking up a little bit higher. And on the 5-minute time frame, same thing. We're really waiting for that to break those key levels, and everything is going to confirm at the same time. Phenomenal. So we really poured through a great deal of stuff here. Let's go back into Bitcoin. This takes a few seconds for this chart. And I want to go through the same thing again with Bitcoin, at least on the shorter time frames, in that the RSI turned to shit. Dropped off and turned to shit. It's not completely dead, but breaking these levels in those 1, 2, 3s with the RSI dropping is low budge. Now, if we go back to BitShares and we look at Bitcoin here, it doesn't have any swaths of buying supporting this. In fact, it's got the dumps of selling going on. But I zoom it out to the 12-hour view. We had some little bit of buying, but if I was to look at this, that's looking pretty much weaker. Weaker dump. Weaker dump. Weaker dump. Who knows how long and where it'll go? No idea. But this isn't bullish looking. Now if we go on to Bitcoin, and we look at the MACD indicator, was looking kind of positive, but it's crossed a bit negative here on the 4-hour time frame. And this is exactly where in the first live stream is saying, okay, this is crossed negative. If it's going down, this was our first indicator that I wasn't paying attention, or wasn't paying correct attention to. I was still anticipating that the 4-hour would cross back positive. And the 1-hour is crossed negative and flared wide. The 15-minute is the only thing that's crossed to the positive and showing a little bit of help here. In the 5-minute, it's crossed positive and looking good. But this crossing negative would certainly support Bitcoin prices coming down more. And this would have no trouble crossing negative again either. This isn't strong support here. So Bitcoin's looking pretty low budge right now. And we'll go to the Ichimoku cloud for Bitcoin. 4-hour time frame, it is not looking like a buy signal like the others are. They are up above the cloud and looking like a buy signal in an uptrend. And if I zoom in now to the 1-hour time frame, this is not looking like a buy signal in an uptrend. It is broken through the cloud. This is quite negative. Quite confirmed negative. And as we go into the 15-minute time frame, we could see that earlier as I did the video and everything seemed indecisive in Bitcoin compared to the Ichimoku cloud. When it started to confirm, it's confirming across many time frames at the same time. So the 15-minute confirmed, the 1-hour confirmed, the 4 hours looking pretty suspect, but not confirmed yet. And so the 12-hour also not confirmed. In fact, looking a little bullish with this twist to the green. The 1-day negative looking. All right. Let me go to YouTube. Okay, so the audio is on and off there. I was probably just clearing my throat. Let's go back in. So Bitcoin still is not giving us any turnaround. It's not giving us the meat. It's not giving us those indicators. It's already broken below those 1, 2, 3 top formations. So it's looking pretty low budge for Bitcoin. And as I zoom right in on this now to see what's up, not much for Bitcoin here. Pretty classic for a Bart Simpson formation though, that being these are manipulated markets, it's impossible to know if this is going to break higher or just all of a sudden blast or break lower, or if it's all of a sudden going to just blast higher. But your risk control rules, if you are long, you only want to hold things that are proving you correct. So if you were long from a long ways ago and you're still good, great. Now, there goes Bitcoin dropping more. And so this, pardon me, this moment in the trade is often where I've been hammered and sandwiched and killed before. Where I would be in a trade, holding that trade past this blast. I'm like, oh, made it. Now, as it's coming down here and it's coming down here, it's confirming a break of these prices. We've got a descending stuff going on here. Pretty oversold level, here. This typically, if I was still in the trade, I would be sweating. And this is the kind of thing that I'd say, I just can't take it anymore. I have to close this position now. And I like to watch this moment because this is where I would normally just say, I can't take it anymore. It's proving me wrong. I just got to get out of this trade. And be damned if many times in the past, right at that moment where I couldn't take it anymore, it was the exact moment prices turned around. So it's always phenomenal to watch these formations when there's no, you're just watching on the sidelines to see, is this exactly what's just about to happen here? Where I would have said, I can't take it. I got to get out. And then the thing just blasts off and takes off from there. It's happened too many times to me. If that's happened to you, leave a comment. Let me know. Say something in the chat. Leave a comment down below, and we'll watch how this unfolds. And should this blast off, what are we also going to be expecting? Let me clear off everything on this chart. I'm so grateful for that button. So we're looking at the 1-day view of Bitcoin dominance. I'm going to zoom into the 15-minute view. And here is the top formation in Bitcoin dominance that if it breaks down below this, this will coincide with the altcoins all doing bottom formations and taking off. And when that happens, then our spreadsheet will turn all yellow and green as all of those alts are taking off. So if I invert this, this is what the alts are looking like. I can't zoom it back anymore at this time frame, so I'll get it to load up on the 1-hour bars. And this isn't a lag from my computer. This is a lag from their website. So here we have what are looking like the 1, 2, 3 bottom formations in many of the alts we just looked at. They're down this 1, 2, 3. They're coming up to these levels. Some are a little higher, some are a little lower, but this is the overall average of the alts. They all have this support and resistance to work their way through now. Will they blast up above this and then come and sit above it? Will they have to work their way a few different times before they can make their way above? These are the questions that are the most interesting right now as we're unfolding this. So there's a lot of selling hitting there, right there, and it didn't break the price yet. All of the alts are looking excited by that barrage of selling. But they didn't break out yet. This didn't break out higher. This didn't break out higher. We've got these excitement coming in, but it didn't really break. As this was coming down and testing these levels, they didn't break out higher. Pardon me. Darn. Sorry about the volume. But just wrapping up, going through these things, talking about this is resisting. It's holding its own there. These have not broken higher. I figured that as this broke, these would immediately be breaking these levels here and going higher. But Bitcoin is showing that weakness and they're hesitating. So those kind of moments of keeps you watching the charts and watching the charts and watching the charts forever. And the best way to trade, I've found, is to do those 12-hour crossovers. And it really takes me just a couple minutes to look at all the different charts and make a trading decision. Once I start getting into this stuff, it's for my own trading journals. It's for my own education so that I can put together case studies of this stuff as it unfolds. I can go back to historical videos, clip out little pieces, and put them together for more demonstration of how this trading system actually works. That's it for now. I will sign off and wish you guys all the best in your trading today. See you over on Discord.